China's relationship with the West appears to have deteriorated further this week on two different fronts. In a moment, we'll look at the alleged mistreatment of the minority Uyghur Muslim people. But first of all, Britain and China continue to clash over Hong Kong. The Chinese government says it is considering not recognising UK-issued British national overseas passports as legitimate travel documents anymore, many of which are held by people from Hong Kong. The move comes in reaction to the UK's own plan to allow those in Hong Kong with British overseas national passports to apply for special visas to live in Britain and eventually become UK citizens. Here's China Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Weibin.
The UK has neglected China's serious argument and has politically manipulated the BNO issue. It has broken its promise and violated international law and basic norms. The UK has intervened in both Hong Kong and China's domestic affairs. The UK broke its promise first, so China will consider not recognising BNO as a valid travel document. China reserves the right to take further actions.
Let's speak now to human rights activist Ben Rogers, member of the Conservative Party Human Rights Commission and Hong Kong Watch. Benedict Rogers, what happens if China doesn't recognise those travel documents?
Well, that in itself would be a serious breach of international law. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said it's us who are violating an agreement. It's China that has breached the Sino-British Joint Declaration by destroying Hong Kong's autonomy. And if they are to go this far, I mean, the big question is how they would enforce it. Are they going to stop every Hong Konger from leaving the city?
Shouldn't Britain have done this years and years ago? In the early 90s, there was a chance under a Conservative government to have done this.
Absolutely. I welcome the fact that we have done it now, but I always say better late than never. But yes, it is late, and we should have done more at an earlier stage. And this situation now, is in danger of, if they go down this route, of being something akin to the Soviet Union stopping people leaving East Germany when the wall went up, and it would totally destroy Hong Kong if they do what they're threatening.
The Chinese government has changed the way life in Hong Kong works. As you said, broken parts of the declaration, that 50-year period post the handover. But can you also not think this is a failure of UK foreign policy, not to have a kind of dialogue with China, which might have warned China not to do this?
Yes, I mean, I think that UK policy on China has taken a dramatic shift in the space of just a few weeks or even a few months, partly because of Hong Kong, partly because of the COVID-19 pandemic, partly on the Huawei issue and the Uyghur issue. But what we should have been doing for all these years is not having a naive golden age of Sino-British relations, but having that much bolder, more honest relationship where we should have raised these issues with China some years ago.
A lot of these issues were known about. The mistreatment of Uyghur Muslims in the west of the country, something we'll deal with later on in this bulletin, was known about for years. Suspicions over Huawei were known about when this government renewed a contract with Huawei earlier this year. It does seem strange to some people that they're suddenly looking at things in a new light when those actions haven't changed.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Conservative Party Human Rights Commission, which I am part of, 4 years ago published a major human rights report following an in-depth inquiry that we carried out. That report was called The Darkest Moment. Things have got, of course, even darker still. But at that time, we were largely sidelined and ignored by the government of the day. I think what's happened this year is that there's been this coalescing of different major issues all at the same time: the Uyghurs, Hong Kong, Huawei, and the pandemic. But I certainly agree with the premise of your question that we should have been recalibrating our relationship with China much, much earlier on. For too long, we had a policy of kowtowing to China. Now, finally, we're standing up, but it's rather late in the day.
Benedict Rogers, thank you so much for joining us.